Ladies and gents, music lovers and friends, welcome to the 11th episode of the Landmark Show. Onka, what's good, bro?
I'm nice. I'm
You
nice.
keeping well?
Yeah, I'm
You healthy?
good. I'm good. No, I'm not healthy, but
What happened to Gould?
capitalism.
Yeah, man. So, man, I wanted to chop it up, bro, because, in the last couple of days, we've been touching base. And one of the first things that came to light for me was your incredible ability to write.
Mm.
Yeah. Can you take me through how a skill like that develops? Like, is it a random stroke of luck? Is it a gift of the gods? Or do you think like it's a habit and a practice? Like what's the game there? What's up?
I think I have like a controversial answer to that.
Oh yeah?
Growing up, obviously, really loved music.
Yeah.
Like really, like loved it more than the normal kid did. And I joined choir and did all these random marimbas and stuff because I
Okay.
wanted to be in music, but I couldn't sing, and I really wanted to sing. And my favorite artist is like Frank Ocean from way back.
Okay.
I really like that emotive music, and I like writing.
Okay.
And so I think my inability to sing forced me to try and explore rap. So I started rapping because I couldn't sing. And
Yeah. Are you telling me then that perhaps singing was maybe the initial sort of attraction to
If
the
I
tool?
could sing, I wouldn't rap, bro. I wouldn't even know how to rap. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? If I could sing. So, but I used to like take Lil Wayne flows and then rewrite my shit on them.
Okay.
But then then I got to high school. The high school I went to had a studio that was run by the seniors. And for you to get studio time from the seniors, you had to like rap for them. And if they vibe with you with the way you rap, then you get studio
That's a
time.
dope substitute for cash. That's a dope substitute for pay. Yeah.
And then I spat a verse. I still remember the verse, and they died at me. Too.
Okay.
They laughed at me so hard, like it was.
Okay.
Yeah, they really like. And then a few other seniors were like, okay,
Yeah.
we know we're laughing, but let's give this kid a chance. And in the morning when you go to school, got transport, you get there like 2 hours before everybody else in the dark.
Yeah.
They made me write a verse every day and spit it for them at 6 a.m. knowing school's get us come at 7:30
Okay.
every morning. And
All right.
I think so. What's controversial about what I'm saying is that I think you can learn to rap.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You can learn
Because
to write.
to me,
Yeah.
if I was hearing this,
Yeah.
I'll probably think, this is probably coincidental. It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of like something that you do, which therefore brings me to the next topic: how one finds themselves in the process of life. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the pen now. Right? This is a story. This is what you just described. You kind of walk into something,
Yeah.
which kind of like is a pit stop towards somewhere that you are going. Right?
Yeah.
So finding it or finding yourself through the process, do you think you've arrived?
I mean, it's scary. I had a conversation once with a friend of mine, very, very profound friend of mine.
Okay.
And we were talking about how, like, we're learning so much so rapidly, it feels like we're going to die soon. Like,
Yeah,
it feels like,
no, that's a fact. The amount of data that we have consumed, like in the last 24 months,
Yeah.
is probably the amount of data that any person would need for their whole life,
Exactly.
like 20 years ago or
Exactly.
something like that.
And for me, I mean, it's like it's all in the EQ, right? So,
Yeah.
like, the emotional intelligence accumulated in that
Yeah.
data, right? The data that we get from
Welcome
people.
to Greenside. Doggies doing their thing there,
Yeah. I'm scared of dogs. But yeah, so I feel like I've experienced so much emotionally that sometimes I feel like, I have arrived. But the conclusion me and my friend got to was that, like, it's interesting that life doesn't stop giving you lessons. Even when you think you've learned the most profound lessons that maybe your parents are only learning now,
Yeah.
and you're learning at the same rate, it doesn't
How
stop.
crazy is that?
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It doesn't
Because
stop.
of this access to information that
Yeah.
we find ourselves, or our parents, we learn new information as quickly and as in real time alongside our parents.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, dude, Khalil Gibran says on raising children, you can house them and you can feed them, but you can't influence their thoughts and how they're going to be because they live in a time and place you'll never know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where we at. So to answer your question, I don't think I've arrived, but I know I have a very big head on my shoulders.
Okay.
because of the amount of information that has been exposed to me, both emotionally, psychologically, and
Nina Simone says that the job of the artist is to reflect the times. Do you find that your observations with this big head of your shoulders and what you've been exposed to, do you find that it makes its way to your music?
yeah.
Because for me, when I'm listening, I'm like, it's everything from street life to small hustles to relations with parents.
But like I told
to
you,
honeys to, you know?
I think like for me though, I don't write the music. I feel like it writes itself. I don't claim to be big like that. Yeah, everybody, I haven't even like really dropped the track like that yet. Every single verse I've written since I decided to stop writing the hard bars,
Okay.
comes from like an emotional place that isn't my voice. I feel like I'm a vessel. I'm most a vessel when, so sometimes I'm reading the stuff and I'm like, I didn't even know I was thinking that. I didn't even know I was feeling that. I remember telling you about what Sigmund Freud says about the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
It's like the part of your brain, the attic where the lights are off, you keep storing things you don't know where you put
And you
them.
don't even know that you're storing
Exactly.
them.
So it's like when I'm writing, a light is shine on my subconscious, and I'm also shocked. I'm also like, I didn't know I could say X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
The same thing, what you mentioned about Sigmund Freud and what resides in the subconscious, like the bottom basement of your life. Have you ever seen when you watch a movie, right? You know that it's a movie playing. You know, in your present and your conscious mind, you are watching a movie. But then something frightening happens in a movie, and you get scared. You have an emotion. Why? Because of what resides in the subconscious.
The triggers, man.
The triggers, you don't know the triggers, and you don't know that the triggers exist.
So I'd say that, like, music. Wow, that's a nice way to put it, actually. Music or beats sometimes, or even just the instrumentation of music, triggers certain feelings in a space of my head that I don't know how to access any other way.
So you're a slave to the music. You consider yourself a slave
to the art. Let's say to the art, because it's not just the music,
What is your concept then, and your philosophy around the concept of hard work? For instance, every time when people think about hard work, they think about thankless jobs that people do, whether it be a security guard. You can think about any career or job that allows people or expect people to spend inordinate amount of hours doing something repetitively, maybe mundane that they hate. But it's hard work, it's hard grind. What is your philosophy around hard work and what you are a slave to, which is the arts? A philosophy around
So I'll say two things. The first thing I'll say is, I don't believe, like what I stand by is, I don't believe that there's a winning formula.
Okay.
At anything. There's no winning formula. Or anyone, your atheist can be a millionaire, but your Christian can claim that they're a millionaire because of the church. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, there's something I got back when I was in school from a writing lecturer I had. Very, very wise man, Junaid Mansour. Shout out to him. He said, as we need to create like gods, command like kings, and work like slaves.
Create like gods, command like kings, work like slaves.
And I mean, even on my Instagram, it's there. It's something I constantly remind myself of. I don't have a philosophy for hard work, except when I'm faced with having to work hard, I remind myself it's time to work hard. But that's not always the case. There's times where I'm chilling, haven't worked for a long time, because there's no winning formula, right? But there's times where like we'll be shooting, for instance, and like we're behind on our shot list and the time is running out, and you can't let your mind go to that place of, let's try and get a contingency there. You have to face the mountain for what it is. It's there. Then when it's there, then you have to work like a slave, right? But then there's also a time where you have to command like a king, where other people have to work hard in your presence, And even with creating, you need to create like a god as well. Like you need to be in a space where when you're creating, it has nothing to do with the hard work you're doing. It's just...
because it's most of the time when you create, it doesn't feel like hard.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, yeah.
So now you mentioned, for instance, that you haven't really put music out there as such, When you eventually do that, have you decided on a stage name, on a moniker, on an AKA, alias?
I'm Onka B.
So that's going to be Onka B, straight up and down.
Full stop.
No Why is that? Like a lot of people sometimes define themselves based on the name that they gave themselves and not their parents. Well, what's the reason for you to?
Onka B is my name, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Onka B. I think it's palatable because I'd like to be Onka B, but like not many people can say that, which is
But
another chat on
Yeah.
its own.
I guess the reason I'm asking that question, for some people, authenticity is a value, right? So meaning there's no filter, they give you the truth and they give you themselves
Yeah.
in as transparent a manner as possible. They don't have to hide behind a stage name or a mask or whatever. Is that because you choose authenticity?
It would be too tedious to try and figure out a stage name.
Okay.
Right? Onka B is something that people have been calling me for years. It's like my street name. Yeah.
Okay.
So Onka, everybody calls me Onka, but Onka B is like the brand.
Yeah.
If we're looking at Onka as the
Like
creator,
Mouteba,
so yeah, they know Onka B. Like back home, I was crazy in the theater. It was Onka B. When I was rapping, it was Onka B. And sometimes with the visuals as well, it was Onka B. You know what I'm saying? It's always just been Onka B.
Will music eventually become the main stay for Onka B, or do you find that the visuals will always be a part of you?
I might have to answer it like Kanye. I don't know about the future, man. I don't know. I don't like to.
So you don't take that.
Nah.
So you don't believe in taking decisions and then following your path. It seems like, coming back to the first question of finding it, right? Some people decide and they feel that they need to choose their path.
Yeah.
It sounds like you are of the opinion and of the philosophy of surrendering to what comes.
I got tired, man. I've never had a plan come to fruition in my life. I've manifested things that have come in their own time, and they've never looked the way I thought they would look.
Yeah.
I've never imagined or like if tomorrow's the day where I'm having this big performance, it never looked how it was in the dreams. It never looked how I thought, how I planned it out to be. It's always a new experience every time. And I sort of just prescribe to the idea to just let life completely do that. Also, I do struggle with depression. And I often say that when I'm feeling low, I ask myself, am I thinking about something that has to do with the future or the past? If yes, mice. So I don't
If
like
yes, on which one? If yes,
both. If I'm
so
thinking
regardless, regardless of the answer.
If I'm not being present, I'm depressed. And it's a hyper philosophy.
So what you're saying is that the past is gone, the future hasn't come.
Yeah.
There's no time in spending. There's no use in spending time with those.
Both.
Rather just
be present. Yeah, I'll always be exactly where I'm supposed to be in life. And
But what about planning, dog? I mean, isn't there like a place for?
But that's why it's such a powerful philosophy, because it's like, even if I am planning, I'm being present in my planning. I'm not looking at my plans as something that's going to come into fruition. I'm looking at something. I'm being present in the idea that tomorrow we're shooting. I'd like it to go
this way.
X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
It'll be favorable if I come into it prepared like this.
Okay.
But bro, I know for a fact that's not the case, because I've never experienced that in my life.
Okay, so some people want to be in control of their life, their destiny, their tomorrow. Like, how would you respond to somebody who says, I am the, what's the common thing that they say? Something about the champion of my own destiny, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there a place for that?
I don't believe in free will, but I also, just like I'm saying, there's no winning formula, right? So my beliefs are subjective to me. So I don't really shun anyone down for doing it any other way. And I also demand that same respect from other people constantly.
Yes.
Like, when we're speaking about our differences, let us live within that difference. Let us not be in a space where I'm trying to influence you and convince you that if you study and become a doctor, it's better than becoming a creator. No, bro. Like, we all have our own ways of seeing things. And I think currently, until further notice, this is where I'm at.
Got you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about timing to close this off, right? Is there ever such a thing as a perfect time? And I'm asking this specifically because, there's some people who believe in waiting for the right time for them to do something. that the stars have to align in a specific way before, you know. What is your thinking and your feeling around the concept of the timing of events? Is there a place for that? Like, you know, if somebody said, Onka, nah, you know, I don't think this is the right time. I think I'm gonna wait until 1, 2, 3 happens, and then I think I'll be able to take the next step in this thing or other, you know? Do you think there's a concept of stars aligning and perfect timing and things?
I think I'll always be exactly where I'm supposed to be, right?
all the time.
I do have like some people I've met in my life who are into things like numerology. I consider myself as like agnostic, so I like to soak up anything that has to do with spirituality. And I mean, I had a friend who had to get married on a specific date.
Yeah,
because of that's when the numerology told him it was. But like for me, like I'm saying, I'll always be exactly where I'm supposed to be, right? So I've learned that a lot of the things I've manifested for myself, I've received, but I've never received them in a way where I received them I didn't receive them the way I thought it would look when I got there.
Okay.
So even if I wanted it tomorrow, it didn't come tomorrow, it's coming.
It's still coming. Okay.
But when it comes, it hits me in a way where it's like let me give you an example. When I was a kid, I used to watch MTV, Trace, Channel O, and I was like, oh, I really, really, really want to be on these channels one day. Years later, in my 20s, my early 20s, let me say now, an hour doesn't pass without a music video I've directed playing on those channels.
Okay.
My name pops up, I'm not there, but it doesn't look the way it's still the manifestation has been fulfilled. You see what my mom used to pray to win the lottery.
Yeah.
She won like 4 numbers, bro. They gave her like 8 clipper.
Yeah.
And I was like, your prayers weren't specific, dog. Like,
yeah, you didn't say you wanted to win.
You see what I'm saying? So I feel like it will come, but it will never look the way. And like the universe, God always finds a way to like show you that. Like you always wanted a car, you get a car. It's frustrating. It's getting you in a time where you're not hungry for it anymore. It's giving you other problems.
Yeah. Some people will say, Onka, that sounds like the fear of not wanting to jinx things.
Yeah.
Right? There's these people who say, I don't want to live in the future. I don't want to imagine. I don't want to inhabit my future just yet because I'm afraid that it might just not be what I think I want. How would you respond to somebody who says, Mara Onka, Ogarwana, you are afraid to dream?
Yo, man, this is a deep answer I have for you. I feel like the idea already of success in our minds, especially as Africans, is flawed. So that makes me not want to be interested in the future because all our aspirations are Western, bro. Western cars, Western. So if you really want to look at it that way, I don't think it's worth pursuing. If I get it, I get it. Yeah. But like for me, myself, as much as I do want that because I'm designed to want that, I don't want to think about it too much because it's like it becomes do or die if I don't have it.
You basically putting yourself up on a short leash, and then it kind of.
And I don't believe it's part of my DNA to want those things. Okay. Even though I do, it shouldn't. Like my great grandparents lived in a time where they didn't have these concerns.
Of course, all of these are very modern concerns. Honestly speaking.
Exactly.
A lot of them are quite modern.
Yeah, I try and ground myself in that. But also, dude, you gotta eat. But you gotta eat presently. That's how I see it as well. I'll eat now. If I'm not hungry. And sometimes I find myself presently wanting a lot of money. Like, what can we do? Let's put up a plan.
And not necessarily because money is an achievement, but because it's got a job, you need to do stuff.
Yeah. But also because, dog, it's nice to splurge.
Nice to have banks.
It's nice to live soft, bro. And everybody wants to live soft. So nobody wants to live in a house out of UPS because they can't afford one.
Is there a date for new music from Onka? Now that we've established that this is what it is, the homies from back home, they know.
To be honest, the only thing stopping me now, I've acknowledged, is I need the recognition to release.
Okay.
So I'm still naively seeking confirmation that I'm dope.
Okay.
right? And I don't want to drop and then have that, on Spotify where it shows you that less than 1,000 listens. Like, I wanna be sure that if I'm gonna drop, people are actually.
You ain't dropping nothing unless it's confirmed, the banner.
And what's nice is I've made a lot of music, and it's for me and my friends.
Okay.
So like even today, I wrote a very very deep verse, and I spread it across all my friends because I felt like I was sharing word.
Yeah.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
this is
the
Sunday's
word
for the day.
Today's mathematics.
Yeah, and I have access to them. I can't release and say everybody's gonna listen.
You got a good soundboard then. You got a very good soundboard. So by the time it comes out, it's certified dope. Ladies and gents, look out for Onka B because when it comes out, it's officially dope. But one last question around Umoja Sounds, bro. Any reflections on your observations around the Umoja Sounds team? The general approach to creating.
Look, man, creative processes are all different. Artists are all different.
Yeah.
I think I'm just infatuated or in love with the unity, like the idea that someone from East Africa can come here and we can engage. It's been fun to see even the guys just like eat the food this side. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in love with that. Like I'm in love with the
novelty, the fact that there's a novelty. The experiences
and it makes you appreciate a lot of where you're at, and it also makes you curious about how other people are living, and it also sort of dumbs down the problems you may be facing, because you're like, everybody in the world has like different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Different ways of looking at things. The things you find as problems, they like, for them it's like, bro, you should come to my country. You know, he came and goes, trust me, in my country. Like, if you come to Kenya, you understand. You think it's bad here, I think more than anything, that's where it's at. But when it comes to creative processes, bro, even chilling with you is like I'm feeding, bro. Like I'm feasting. It's like, because you're different. I'm not in your head. You're not in my head. Perspectives and all of that. Like it's like, you know how the example I give is, we have different ways of writing bars. So when I hear you rap, I'm always like, oh, you could do it. I didn't think to do that, and I think vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
What happened to Ubuntu? Capitalism. Yes.
It's coming.
Onka B, you dope chopping it up.
Thank you for stay safe. Don't do drugs. Don't talk to strangers.
Dad.